gracious.
I mean,
Dude, this
I
fight.
I
Come on,
am,
man.
dare I say, you know how much I've loved this run for Charles Oliveira.
Mm,
I'm
mm,
looking at these odds that you have here. I hadn't seen the most updated odds. I'm shocked that Oliveira is climbing as a favorite. I
yep.
figured that this fight would get closer and closer, but Charles Oliveira comes in nearly as a 2-1 favorite, going up against the tied for number one contender in the division, Justin Gaethje. I love throwing that in there because I know Dom loves hearing that so much. But this is the fight to make for sure in the lightweight division right now. Charles Oliveira, he's been surprising a lot of people along the way, but he has a legit title run going on right now. He
yeah.
beat Michael Chandler, kind of came back, fought through some adversity. Then he follows that up with a very good performance against Dustin Poirier. Once again, kind of fought back from some adversity.
Yeah.
I mean, needless to say, win or lose here or anywhere on this title run, I mean, Charles Oliveira is putting on fun fights. And, you know, he may not be answering all the critics because, sure, he is having these moments of weakness, if you want to call it that, in these performances. But all in all, he's answering the durability questions. He's answering the lack of heart questions that
Yep.
were there.
Yep.
And if this guy really is kind of all that, and he's got the skill set that's constantly improving on his striking, his Muay Thai is incredible, and he's got some of the best jiu-jitsu in the whole UFC. He is an absolute menace right now. But he's going up. It feels like an unstoppable force is about to hit an immovable object in Justin Gaethje in the other corner. So Dominic, my question for you is how do you really evaluate this fight? Going into it, I know we look at this, we say it's 50-50, right? Toss a coin, flip a coin, heads or tails, who's going to win, Oliveira, Gaethje. But when you see this fight in your mind, when you're going to bed, when you're in the shower and you think about this fight, you have dreams about this fight.
Mm-hmm.
How does it play out?
Shoot, man, that's a tough ass question. Also, you want to talk about fun fights with Charles Oliveira? Look no further than his opponent in Justin Gaethje. The guy's had
Yeah.
9 UFC fights, 10 bonuses. I mean, this guy's
Does that speak to the fight that we're dealing with here where I was talking up the fights of a guy that wasn't Justin Gaethje?
exactly. This fight, I'm just gonna say it's guaranteed a bonus. I don't know if it's gonna be the fight of the night. I don't know if someone's getting knocked out, submitted, but someone's getting a bonus in this fight. It's unbelievable. It's perfect combination of just two warriors. Justin Gaethje, what a run he's had in such a short amount of time. He's taken this division by storm. Oliveira, 10 straight wins, looking for number 11. He's chasing the Tony Ferguson run. He's chasing Habib. If he wins this fight, Noah, he's in the discussion for the greatest lightweight of all time. The resume he stacked up is unreal. Habib, he's closing in on you, and if he wins this, it's going to
Wow.
be very, very close.
That's a very interesting discussion. That's not something I've heard brought up, but it's very fair
Yeah,
to go in that direction. Now I think a lot of the pushback may come from just his earlier
of
run
course,
being kind of a mixed bag.
of course,
But man, once he really stayed committed to being a lightweight, the guy really has just been
unreal.
he's been near perfect. I mean, he lost to Paul Felder, and since then he's what is he on 10, 11 wins
He's
in a
won 10
row,
in a row. Yep,
and I think all but one by finish because the
yep,
Tony Ferguson fight went to a decision. But I mean
yeah.
that one, I mean look at the armbar he had on Tony in round one. I mean just crazy stuff. When I look at this fight, Dominic, because I didn't even give you a chance to answer. I guess how this fight will go in your mind, right? So,
Yeah, no, well, I said it was going to be fun, but just like,
oh, okay, sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot,
no,
but
you're good.
let's go through this together because
Yes, we have to,
well,
because
so let's look at the skills of both fighters here. Justin Gaethje, obviously, if you look at his background, he's got the very credentialed wrestling. We ain't gonna see any of that.
no.
This guy loves to stand and bang, and he's gotten really damn good at doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
with each passing performance, has become more defensively responsible to the point where he's just a hammer and not really being the nail anymore. Is Justin Gaethje?
Yeah,
He's not trying early on. Again, he was incredible early on, just in these really fun fights. But when he was fighting like Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier, it felt like he was trying to force them or drag them into kind of a barroom fight, a barroom brawl, really trying to drag them into a fight that they had no interest in being in. Now, it was a war, it was at times sloppy, but the reason those two guys won is because they kept their head on straight and kept held to their game plan as much as they could,
Right.
while Justin Gaethje just wanted to be a wild man.
Yeah.
He's cleaned that up, and maybe a lot of that should be a credit to his coach, Trevor Whitman. I
Unreal.
mean, Whitman's the best in the business right now,
He
and
is.
he's the coach of both the challenger here and the champion in the co-main event. So there's the reason why this guy is doing what he does. But you looked at when Gaethje fought Tony Ferguson, just the evolution of his game, right? Tony Ferguson's a wild man. He's the boogeyman, right? This is a guy
Yep.
that had been 112 straight in the lightweight division. Justin Gaethje kind of went in there and beat the brakes off of him for 5 rounds. I mean,
Yeah.
just really took it to him. His power is unmatched
At
at lightweight,
155. Yes.
besides maybe Conor at one point in time, but I'm not even sure if Conor really holds up to that power anymore.
Yeah.
For Charles Oliveira, his skill set, I think, in terms of MMA, is more diverse. Weirdly enough, I feel like their defensive responsibility is pretty even because Charles, he'll take punches too. I mean, Charles, he's not exactly showing a ton of head movement all the time. I mean, he's getting cracked. You
And
saw
you
in the
don't want
Dustin
that against
Poirier,
Justin, man.
you saw against Michael Chandler. I do think that on one hand, Charles Oliveira has more weapons to win this fight. Not only do I think in the stand-up is he more diverse, he does tend to throw probably more. I think with the Muay Thai, I think it offers a little bit more
Yeah.
flexibility in his striking.
Yeah.
While I think Gaethje's going to be throwing a lot of overhands, a lot of power punches. But then he also has the jiu-jitsu. He has that ability on the mat. If he can get it there, or if it can end up there, if he gets Justin Gaethje's back, we saw Gaethje be submitted against Habib. And, despite Gaethje's wrestling background, I think that's a real possibility here. But Dominic, is Charles Oliveira really going to be able to get this fight to the ground? That's the question I can't answer in my mind.
That's a phenomenal question. And is he even going to offensively look for it? I mean, he did against Dustin, right, in round two,
No.
and it worked great. But I don't know. I mean, Justin Gaethje does have very good takedown defense. He did relatively well against Habib. Like you said, he got submitted with Habib on his back. So, and also, when you were saying Charles Oliveira take shots, do you want to take them from Gaethje? Do you want to risk taking? Because you look at the round one with Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. That was a pretty brutal round for the champion. He was giving them back. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but he was taking
He
some
took a lot of
big
damage.
shots, lots
Just
of
like
damage.
he did against Michael Chandler. He nearly
Yeah.
got finished in that first round.
Yeah, very true. And I just think if you're wanting to play that game or willing to even indulge in that game with Gaethje, man, that's dangerous. We saw how nasty his uppercut was looking against Chandler. His leg kicks, we can never forget about the Justin Gaethje leg kicks. That can make Charles very vulnerable. I think this fight gets fought on the feet basically the whole time until someone inevitably falls. I think someone will go down and be finished, whether it be a KO TKO on Justin's side or potentially KO TKO or submission from Charles. Like you said, he has more paths to victory. I don't see an offensive takedown happening. I think we're going to see stand up, stand and bang. Gaethje's going to welcome it. We know this. And if he comes out fast, man, Charles doesn't start the greatest. Gaethje has potential there in that opening round. After that, this fight gets very, very interesting. I am a little bit surprised at these odds, but we've talked so much lately about how Oliveira's been overlooked, and he's finally getting that respect.
He is.
But it's coming against the hardest hitting guy.
That's what I was about to say. Like, he's finally getting the respect, but also, like, this might be his toughest challenge in my mind to date.
Yeah.
I thought he did have that path to victory against Dustin Poirier more clearly and Michael Chandler.
Yep.
Here against Justin Gaethje, I think the problem for me is I kind of agree with you in that I don't really see the wrestling or the takedowns being much of a factor here.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I got to ask myself this. If this fight is fought on the feet for the majority of time, whose punches are going to hurt who more? Clearly, in my mind, it's Gaethje is going to hurt Oliveira more. I mean, can Oliveira really finish Gaethje on the feet? I'm not so sure that he can. I mean, look at the bombs Gaethje ate from Michael Chandler, who actually might be the hardest hitter at 155. Yeah. But Oliveira, while having good power, that's not exactly his MO. That's
But then you look at what he did to Chandler, and Gaethje couldn't
very
finish
true.
Chandler. It's like, and it's MMA math, and it's all that
Yeah,
stuff. I get it,
this is
but
true. This is
it's
very
crazy,
true.
man. Like,
It's a fantastic main event. Dare I say, could end up being one of the most intriguing main events on paper going into the fight. I mean, I look at the main events we've gotten this year, and Ngannou versus Gan, of course, was going in just. I mean, that fight had so many storylines going in. It's hard
yes,
to top that fight, really, when you think about going in. You know, I think this fight tops Adesanya Whitaker too for me. It
yeah,
tops Masvidal Covington for me. Tops obviously Volkanovski Korean Zombie. I mean, I think this fight really, really, really is one of the biggest fights for hardcore fans that we're gonna get this year. So hopefully everybody really appreciates what we're getting. I get it. Now's the time to be kind of criticizing UFC, Dana White. There's a lot of that going on right now, and I get it. But I gotta give credit where it's due. This is a fantastic main event. I mean, it's worth the price of admission alone.
yeah. This fight alone is worth the $70, let alone the rest of the card. It's
And I
crazy.
and man, there's going to be a big discussion on Monday if Charles is able to pull this off. I mean, that what you brought up about perhaps being one of the, if not the best lightweight of all time.
Oh, it's completely in discussion.
I can't wait to talk about that because I really haven't even thought about it. I mean, when we put our top 30 together, remember when we did that? Because Ariel
Yeah,
put like a top 30. I'm not even sure if I had Oliveira on my
I
top 30 at the
I
time.
didn't either. Yeah, and now
So
look.
that's how much things can change and how quickly they can. So, yeah, look forward to that on Monday, I guess. But we'll see what happens. This fight, whew, I can't wait.
Chef's kiss.
Co-main event.